Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. First things first, I do a giveaway every single week, so if you're interested, I'll tell you how to enter later on in the video. But today we have some malicious compliance stories, and our first story of the day is by a blackbird named Jude. He wanted all his stuff back, so I made sure he got everything. So my last relationship was beyond bad. He was all sorts of abusive and controlling. At one point I had the strength to break up with him, but then we got back together after we discussed some things. Stupid, I know, but yeah, love and all that. Well, anyways, one of the things we agreed on was that he and I would stop drinking alcohol because he was beyond crazy aggressive when he drank, and I wanted to support his sobriety. This is really important. Fast forward about 8 months or so, and we got into a huge fight, and I not only broke up with him, I kicked him out of the house and told him he wasn't ever allowed back inside. We'd been living together over a year at this point, so his mom got in touch with me about getting his stuff. While on the phone with her, I could hear him in the background saying, "Make sure they get everything I own or bought, I want it all back." Apparently, even stuff he gifted me he wanted back, but honestly I didn't care. I was happy to get rid of anything related to him. While cleaning our room up and gathering everything, I started to come across numerous bottles and cans of alcohol. It seems he had been drinking again for a while and was hiding the evidence in the room. I mean, he was hiding them under the bed, in his guitar case, rolled up in his clothes, in some old backpacks of mine, and so on and so forth. He had said he wanted everything of his, so any bottle and the few unopened cans I found went straight into one of the garbage bags of his stuff. By the time I had gathered everything up, I had 3 bags of stuff, and one was basically all just the alcohol. Dropping them off was just so satisfying. He actually called moments after I left his parents' place, ranting about how petty and immature I was being. My response? Well, you wanted all your stuff back, and those definitely weren't mine, plus I figured you'd probably need a drink to deal with the breakup. I promptly ended the call and blocked him on everything. Most satisfying thing I've ever done. If this was you going through a nasty breakup, would you want to be a little bit more petty with it and maybe hand his mom all the cans and bottles of alcohol? Or do you think you would be the kind of person that just kind of shoves everything into a garbage bag, kind of tosses it to them, and just cuts them completely out of your life? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Vark4731. Ex-wife told me to remove all my stuff from her storage unit, so I did. My ex-wife and I split because she cheated. So our separation was quite tumultuous. She still hasn't apologized for the act of cheating and still denies it, even though I know beyond any reasonable doubt that she did. I was incredibly hurt at the time, and I'll admit I wasn't acting my best, but I still tried to treat her fairly. When she left, we agreed that she would take over the payment on our car because she needed it for work. Our other car was totally paid off, and I couldn't afford the payment on the one that she drove. But I agreed to leave my name on the loan because her credit didn't qualify. To be honest, I didn't really have an alternative. I told her that she could keep it for as long as she made the payments, and that if she paid it off, I would immediately sign her over the title. But if she started flaking on the payments, I would have the car voluntarily repossessed. I also agreed to give her the washer and dryer on the condition that she take over the car payments. I had purchased the washer and dryer but had no use for them because I lived in an apartment at the time. This is important for later. Well, we inevitably got into a disagreement over the parenting of our children. I can't remember exactly what it was about, to be honest. And she randomly showed up with the car, handed me the keys and said, "Have fun figuring out how to make the payments." She knew I couldn't afford them. And then ended with a, "And get all your crap out of my storage unit." We hadn't finished untangling the mess of items in our jointly owned storage unit, but she wanted it done immediately because she was mad. So I did what she asked. I went over that day to get my crap out of our storage unit. While I was in there, I saw the washer and dryer sitting in the corner and immediately remembered that I had only given them to her on the condition that she pay off the car. So I took them. I had absolutely zero need for them at the time, but she had very specifically wanted my crap out of her storage unit. So who was I to argue? She called me a day later screaming about it, telling me that she had filed a police report. I just laughed, knowing that they wouldn't do anything because it was my property. The story gets better. As it turns out, she was just angry and actually wanted the car back. Well, the day after she had dropped it off on me, I got into a freak accident and totaled it. Everyone was okay. So she ended up without a car, and I never had to make a single payment on it. The universe wanted to maliciously comply with her demands. I mean, it's just pretty clear that the world doesn't just revolve around her. She can't do all this really petty stuff and expect to just always get away with it. You can't just go around throwing these heavy burdens on them and then when, surprise, the burden comes right back at you, be all, well, no, actually, I want the car back, I don't want this and that, I just want blah blah blah. Just doesn't work that way. This next story is by Hidden Acres 37, How I Almost Ruined the Christmas Concert. I was a senior in high school when this happened. We had a music teacher who hated me for some reason. I'm not sure why because I never acted up in class and was in both band and chorus voluntarily. My flute playing skills are okay, but I have a pretty great singing voice. Not a next winner of America's Got Talent singing voice, but pretty good. I've been singing pretty much since I could talk. I have good breath support, project well, and have a decent range. One day before chorus practice, the music teacher comes to me and says, I need you to blend with everyone. I don't want to hear your voice over anyone else's. My face turned about 18 shades of red, but I managed to say through clenched teeth, okay, sure, no problem. So we start practice. She starts playing the piano, there's the cue, and I open my mouth to sing as per usual, only almost nothing comes out. Mind you, I am singing, just so quietly that only the person sitting next to me can hear me. It was a disaster. Half the room missed the cue to start singing. Several people are staring at me. You can hear the alto section better than the soprano section, my section, so there's no strong melody. The tenors and bass might as well not even be in the room. She stops playing about halfway through when it becomes apparent that nobody knows the song or their cues without me singing at my normal volume. She's glaring at me and I'm staring straight back at her like, what? She starts again. Periodically, she's looking up from the piano at me, but like I said, I was singing, so she never caught me just sitting there not moving my mouth like she clearly wanted to. Practice proceeded in this fashion for a painful hour. It was the same for every song that we tried. Missed cues, barely audible singing all around, and the music teacher's face getting redder and redder. At the end of that class, she came to me again and asked me why I wasn't singing. I told her I was singing, but she wanted me to blend in so I couldn't sing very loud or she'd be able to hear me above other people, and that it wasn't my fault that she couldn't hear anyone else. She angrily turned to the person I shared music with, but she backed me up and said that she could hear me singing. Nothing she could do. This went on for weeks. She tried everything to improve the performance of everyone else. She had us move our chairs closer. She mixed alto and soprano. She had us all stand in a big circle in the gym facing her and each other. She pounded on the piano keys harder. Nothing helped. Other chorus members asked me what was going on. I just told them that our teacher told me to blend. Finally, 2 weeks before the Christmas concert, so really only 4 or 5 practices left, the music teacher came to me and very quietly said, I'm going to need you to sing at your normal volume. I say, okay, sure, no problem. There was an audible, oh thank God, from someone in the alto section that day when I started singing. None of the other people in the chorus were bad singers, but I guess they had learned to rely on my timing and volume to give them the confidence to perform, because the improvement was dramatic once I was allowed to sing again. Sometimes it's just really easy to follow a very clear-cut lead, and I suppose if you do it long enough, it's very hard to adapt without having that lead there. It makes a lot of sense to me, and it must make OP feel kind of special, knowing how important their performance is to the entire chorus. Our next story is by Ryan Thin. We want you to work off the clock. So I work in a mom and pop pizza place. I've been there for about 3 months. I generally show up about 20 minutes early every day, and I'm asked to start working right away. I'm always willing, but I clock in first. About 2 weeks ago, the owners asked why I always clocked in early, so I told them that I am asked to work when I get there. They told me I can't clock in early and to just work off the clock for that time, and that they were going to change my time card to reflect what time I was supposed to start. Keep in mind, all of my coworkers have gotten used to me getting there early, so sometimes they leave early. The next day, I was scheduled to work at 5. As per normal, the day crew expecting me to be there early and work had 3 of 4 people clock off at 4:30. Since I was told that I wouldn't get paid, I decided to show up at 4:59 and clocked in right at 5. In the half hour that those people were off, $200 worth of food was ordered. I would definitely be reporting that to some kind of authority because I don't think that's very legal. Especially the part where they retroactively are going to say, for those days that you did clock in early, we're going to change it to reflect when you actually clock in. My reply would be, screw you, I'm not coming in 30 minutes early and working off the clock. That's just ridiculous. Our next story is by Christans. I mean, if you want to authorize 8th graders to cheat. When I was in 8th grade, I had a history teacher who was in his first year of teaching, having made a midlife career change from FBI agent to teacher. He was clearly trying to be the cool teacher, perhaps too many inspiration movies in his past. Stand-in Delivery and Dangerous Minds really didn't have much in common with my middle-class suburban school, but that's besides the point. He had a standing offer of extra credit to anyone who could stump him with "on this day in history" type questions. He said his goal was to motivate us to learn more about history, but the motivation was lessened by the fact that it was rare anyone succeeded, and he lorded winning so often over us. So one day, while at the library working on an assignment for another class, I dug out the microfiche newspaper archives and came up with some really esoteric questions. I was pretty proud of the work I put in and excited to ask him my questions. I let him know that they would be coming, as we were required to do, so he could plan some time in the schedule. And I'm suddenly realizing that's a big part of how he always got them right. He had advance warning and could read up. When the time came to ask my question, he shocked me and everyone by having all the answers, and then broke down laughing and explained that he had offered one of my friends extra credit to steal the questions and answers for him ahead of time. I and others protested that this was cheating, but he insisted it wasn't cheating, just being resourceful. Well, with that redefinition, a class, and eventually all of his classes, of 8th graders were given license to engage in rampant cheating. After all, asking for the test questions and answers from the class that took it the day before wasn't cheating, it was just being resourceful. Copying someone else's work? Just being resourceful. I'm not sure he was ever aware, but just about every student in that class engaged in what every teacher around would consider cheating for the rest of the year. Even the rule followers. After all, he had insisted it wasn't cheating. We were smart enough not to do it anywhere other than his class though, as I'm pretty sure the rest of the faculty would not have been on board, to say the least. Hopefully, he was a little more careful about the precedents he set as he got a few more years' experience. Or maybe found a different midlife crisis career. Honestly, growing up, I've known a teacher or two that would lie about their past careers. So I'm very easily getting vibes from this guy that he wasn't an FBI agent that turned into a teacher. I had a teacher one time that apparently almost made it into the major leagues in baseball, was a police officer, did a lot of undercover detective work for the police force, and then became a substitute teacher and a teacher. It just never made any sense, and I kind of get the same vibe from this guy. So quickly now, I just want to explain how to enter the giveaway. The way it works is I take every video that was uploaded in a given week, find one random comment that was relevant to the stories in that video, and I give them an Amazon gift card. It's that simple. So all you want to do to have the best chances to win is to leave a comment relevant to the video in some form on every video this week. That's all you have to do, and best of luck. And also, if you could like the videos too, that would help more than you could possibly imagine. And our final story of the day is by Dab Kogerzim. Excuse me, ma'am. Okay, sure, I can wait. This is about 15 years ago during my senior year of undergrad at a large East Coast university. A few friends and I were out for dinner at a local bar/restaurant which was very busy. We were seated in a booth which was one of a series of booths along the back wall of the dining area. While we were eating, I noticed the table next to us starting to look very shifty. It was a group of 3 guys and they had had a large meal and a lot of drinks. I'm in the edge seat of our booth and the waitress is taking the order of the booth next to us. Her back is to the guys I have predicted are about to ditch their bill. It's a college town. The waitress was young and more than likely working to put herself through school, so I thought I would try to be helpful. I turned to her while she is taking the table next to us. It goes like this. "Excuse me, miss." "Sir, I'll be right with you." 15 seconds pass, the guys are gathering their stuff. "Excuse me, miss." "Sir, I will be right with you." More forceful and with clear enunciation. 15 seconds pass. The guys get up and bolt for the door. "Miss, I'm sorry to interrupt, but..." Her interrupting me. "Sir, please wait." So I wait. She leaves the booth next to us to do something and comes back to me 2 minutes later. Her being snide. "Okay, sir, how can I help you?" Me pointing at the now empty booth. "I was trying to tell you those guys were about to run out on the check." She immediately turns pale white. She rushes to look in the booth and then runs for the front door. No luck, those guys were long gone. She came back and gave some minor apology and thanked me. We asked for our check, paid, and left. I'm sure they probably took the cost of those meals out of her paycheck. People who run college town restaurants aren't known for being the fairest people in the world. Tough, I tried to help. It's definitely a shame. I can't really blame her too much. She was just trying to do her job and she was young and probably a little inexperienced. Yeah, they had an attitude, but the thing is, they were trying to do their job and somebody was trying to interrupt them. I feel like you can see both sides here. In the end, I definitely feel bad if they took anything out of their paycheck because of it. I think if OP really wanted to help, they would just go ahead and say it out loud rather than just waiting. If time was really of the essence and they really wanted to get this waitress to realize it, just blurt it out, just say it. Don't play that game of, "Oh, well, you said to please wait, so therefore I'm just going to comply." You want to help them out? Try and help them out. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So, which of these stories was your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing and turn notifications on if you haven't so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Any little thing that you do helps the channel grow so much more. Whether it's commenting, subscribing, or just watching the video, thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time, right here on the Storytime channel.